Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the Doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners. Just like you.
There we go.
You had to press the button, didn't you?
I know the button was pressed, but the wheel
volume
was
was...
all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Fancy headphones. Who would have thought? What a world we live in.
What a wonderful world.
Heal me. I'm hot sick.
It's just so stuck in my head.
I know. I don't understand it. We haven't talked about that in forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Good God.
We got a review.
Yeah, baby.
5-star review. That's number 79.
Yeah. Keep in mind, we're currently sitting around like 86.
Yeah, we were piling in, but you know,
this is the 79th we will have.
Yeah, it's a problem if we get these guests and I don't feel like patting our own backs when a guest is on the show.
I think we should start doing it.
Yeah, we'll get the guest to read it.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Read this.
Yeah, tell us how good we are.
Tell us we're worth a damn.
If you could actually change the name of the person who sent it into your own, that would really be helpful. You could actually phrase it as if you're just saying it off the top of your head, like I give you 5 stars.
Yeah.
It'd be really beneficial. No, we got a 5-star review on Himalaya.
Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
I only know of it.
Is it the mountain range?
I mean, it is. But also,
is it like etched into the mountain range really like disrespectfully, like Mount Rushmore? This is just a big 5-star review of us on Everest.
I remember that I think Starburns was advertising them for a while, but more importantly, it was the Meme Boys were reviewing them we're doing a sponsorship with them for a while. And it was very funny because now they have like a new podcast and they were just like shitting on it the other day.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, it was really good. But it's a place to get reviews, so we'll take it. We'll take them. Take them all. We got a 5-star review in Himalaya from Red Burr.
Well, he's up in the Himalayas.
That's Burr. Also red, I guess.
The wind burn.
Oh, Hey, there we go. Genius. Redbird goes on to say, 5-star podcast must listen to if you have questions about DC.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Redbird.
Keep them coming in.
Yeah.
We will definitely take them from Himalaya. Just let us know.
Yeah. We'll take it anywhere.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, why not? If it gives me 5 stars. Is this like Uber Eat Me?
Uber Eat Me? Jesus God.
As long as you rate me 5 stars, you can put it anywhere.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to start carrying around an signed in iPhone with me all the time. And I'm just going to ask people put it wherever you want. Just log in here and give me 5 stars.
Yeah. I wish I was a hacker or something so I could just make an algorithm that forced people to subscribe and listen to our show.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can get fake ones, but what's the point?
Like you too? People just sign on their phone and be like, I didn't download this.
Yeah.
Just be a bunch of random episodes.
Every time it connects to your car, it just starts playing our podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, or it's keyed into because your phone's always listening, so it's just keyed into certain words.
I always forget that about you two until I try to put my whole iTunes thing on shuffle, and then that fucking song comes on, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Songs of Innocence. I didn't download this. That
is the dumbest thing Apple's ever done. Next to not putting a fucking charging cable that you can both use your mouse and charge at the same time. But
yeah,
that fucking thing, I still can't believe that nobody was like, maybe people don't want to be forced to listen to an artist.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
It still could have been so much. It could have been Limp Bizkit.
I mean, it's true. It's one of the most tepid sort of ones. I think the only thing more tepid than that is if it was a train or something.
Yeah. Which what an insult to you too. At the point in the career, where it's they're kind of like Train.
Yeah, they're about,
used to be this real big, pretty relevant group, and now they've sunk to the level.
Look,
fucking.
They were that one album was probably one of my favorites.
So little sister.
Ain't that Mister? Where the streets have no names.
Oh, yeah, they should mash them up.
Yeah, there
so
we
that
go.
no one can listen to either of them.
Yeah, did you delete that from your phone? Yeah, you too.
That's true.
All right, we've got some news. And the first piece of news. Some may say this is a good piece of news. Some probably are not on the same page.
Okay.
The event Leviathan is postponed indefinitely.
Yeah. This is Event Leviathan Checkmate. So
Yes.
this was a follow-up to Event Leviathan.
Yeah.
Which that first series
Yeah.
saw like some of DC's greatest detectives and sort of street level superheroes coming
Yeah.
together to figure out who Leviathan was and what was happening to the world's intelligence agencies as they were being basically like literally wiped off the map. And like
Just when you say that, it makes me think of Rob Lowe on Parks and Rec. Literally.
they were being wiped off the map. Yeah, you have been watching a lot of Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
That is literally
Literally.
the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So it was about figuring that out. Who is Leviathan? What is how is he taking over all of the intelligence community?
Yeah.
This sort of thing.
Yeah.
Event Leviathan Checkmate was going to follow up on some of the things there. And then COVID hit and things like that. And now, yeah, it's been postponed indefinitely. So I don't know if maybe that's because the original series was going to try to tie into the now shelved 5G plans, or if it's because they just feel like they've got a different story, or it will make more sense later once we're done with death metal.
Yeah.
Who knows? There could be a lot of reasons, or it could just be that they're like, maybe
It's not worth it. Yeah.
it could be a financial thing where they're just like, we just can't print another thing right now. Who knows? I honestly don't know. But
do you care one way or the other?
I liked Event Leviathan, and I was going to get this series. I care because it was nice to have something that was like a different tone. It was very like espionage-y, and even like Alex Maleev's art on that was these it was all these like shadowy corners and muted colors. Like it felt like watching like a spy movie, like a James Bond or a Bourne or something like that. So, I mean, just for like the variety of what I read, I'm disappointed that it's not happening. But I don't know that because there's so much unanswered, but it's not even like, oh, we're this close to the answer. It's just, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm crushed. I'm just, disappointed because people put hard work into something. And,
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, is what it is.
Wow, what a glowing review. All right, next piece of news.
How can I review it? I haven't read it.
I know. Lucifer officially renewed for 6th and final season. This is the final season.
Oh, 6th season.
Sixth season.
I mean, if you're writing Lucifer, you gotta hope you make it to season 6, right?
I would think as much. I mean, this is a show that I started watching and watched like the first 2 seasons of.
I actually haven't watched any of it.
It's the problem is it really starts out as like a flat out procedural cop thing,
Right.
and then like slowly brings out into interesting things.
Right.
But like what it does by like season 3, I was like, it just feels like a tepid Supernatural. Like there's a lot of cool things in there, but it's not like there's things that are doing what they're already doing, but a bit more and a bit better.
It's just not doing them as well.
Yeah. Like I like a lot of the stuff in it, but it's just like
I like that actor, and he seems like he would be fun to watch.
he's great in it. I just think the writing isn't. It
just feels so different from the Lucifer comic. Like the Lucifer comic is one of those like indie darling kind of Vertigo books, right?
Yeah.
And the show is so clearly not that. It's so
No.
like glossy looking and like it looks like Law and Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just for me, like it never like, and maybe it does it in the later seasons, but
Right.
for me, it just like never pushed it as hard as I wanted to. Like
Right.
I'm like, okay, like you got gods and
Is it on
the devil
like
and
NBC
demons.
or like a main network or something?
It was.
like that?
Now it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Netflix is sort of like.
I wonder if it suffered a little bit from the same sort of thing that the Constantine show suffered from, which was like trying to be a thing in in a location where they don't want you to be that thing.
Yeah, and that's probably it. Like it probably would have done better on something like CW, but
or like DCU.
well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just yeah, it felt a little handcuffed to me, and so there was enjoyable, and he has enough charm to like carry you through
Sure,
it, but like
yeah,
at a
yeah,
certain
yeah.
point, I'm like, I'm getting this from other things. Like I don't need this.
It's not doing enough on its own.
Yeah, it's not unique enough for me. But
Fair enough.
But
Good for them for getting.
They've got an
season
audience.
6.
They've definitely got an audience for that show.
Yeah.
And it's a DC property at the end of the day, so I'm happy for it to continue.
Yeah, I mean, they gave him his little cameo moment in Crisis.
Yeah.
They connected him in there.
Love that.
Yeah.
So good.
I mean, I would kill for a Lucifer Constantine, like, constant back.
Mm.
Their little scene in Crisis on Infinite Earths is one of the best moments of that 5 hours.
Because they should be interacting. Yeah.
They're so, like, a lot of chemistry there.
So good. I mean, such, like very big personalities.
Yes, yeah.
I think that it works out really well. This piece of news is not really that interesting, but more it's just it made me laugh when I read it.
Sure.
Just Wonder Woman coming to Roblox.
Okay, is that like a toy Roblox?
It's like third tier Lego.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And it looks like shit.
I mean, is it supposed to? Is it like a Duplo thing? Is it like for little kids?
No, it's bigger than like I think that it's for like 8-year-olds. I would say, like it's
Okay.
not for like little kids. Let me see if I can pull up an
I'm
image
gonna look this up
because it looks like absolute garbage. Like I mean, Roblox in general are terrible, but it's so poorly.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
It just looks like real life Minecraft.
Yeah, it's really.
That was. I mean, whatever. If someone likes Roblox and now they get to see Wonder Woman and that is their introduction to Wonder Woman and it gets them hooked or something.
If
then-
someone likes Roblox just because they've got bad parents doesn't mean that they need to be.
Exactly. We know their parents are bad. We know this.
We got you these Legos. This is what you want,
If
right?
this is how we get them out of Roblox and into other better things, then that's fine. I think. Yeah.
Another piece of news: The Boys season 2 coming this September.
So excited.
Did you watch the thing?
The trailer?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Oh,
seen
no?
The trailer. No.
Ooh, let's do it.
All right.
I wasn't sure.
Wait, didn't we see a trailer like months and months and months ago, like forever ago?
This is a different thing.
This is a different one?
Yeah. There was one in like December
Right.
that they
I
did.
just vaguely remember that one.
But they put out like the first 3 minutes of the season.
Oh.
So let me see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, there it is. It's the opening scene. All right.
Oh, that's an ad. I was like, okay.
I mean, it could be.
Well, interesting. Yeah, we saw our good friend Bobby Singer.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, that little clip is so between the guys talking about the catchphrase and then the boardroom meeting where they're talking about like the contract and collateral damage and all of these things for the superheroes. I mean, it's really going even further into that world of the nightmare corporate control of things.
I love who they have like the actors already in this.
Oh yeah,
Gus Fring.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito, and yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed The Boys.
God, that guy just like gets all of the roles now. Like they're just like, oh, we need somebody who's like intimidating, but like in a very subtle sort of like corporate way.
He's also in Mando.
Mando, yeah, fucking, it's great. Like they just are throwing him at everything. I mean,
yeah.
God, I am so excited.
I'm pretty excited. I was pleasantly surprised by that first season. I mean, like it's got its fair share of like gore porn thing going on, but I was impressed with the first season and how much I actually gave a shit. I sort of was worried it was only going to be like, what if the Justice League doesn't give a shit about you? And that was it.
Yeah.
But then I was like, yeah, I don't know. It did a good job of roping me into the mystery, to like the psychosis, to the characters and stuff like that. We obviously left off with a lot of questions at the end of season 1. Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2.
I can't wait. I think that they've figured out something like with that sort of playing off of like the zeitgeist of superhero stuff that we all know while still sort of like doing what the comic books do. But I'm very curious to see what they do with the season 2 and if they follow the comics like with the guy in all black, like if they do if his story is the same as the comics and things like that, because there's some crazy reveals that happen in the comics that I'm sort of curious if it follows the same thing. But yeah, we have to wait till September 4th, so
crazy.
A few months away, but still I can't wait.
Very cool.
Awesome. Next one is Superman Man of Tomorrow trailer and Blu-ray release date revealed.
Yeah, have you seen this one?
Yeah, I did. Have you?
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I
like the animation style.
Yeah.
It's different. It's not something we're used to. It definitely feels like it has more warmth.
Yeah,
more.
It should, right?
It feels more expressive than the previous animation style. Which
makes sense, I think, for what they're doing,
and especially because they have like cut ties with that old animated universe, right?
Yes.
After Apocalypse War. So yeah, really, really cool. It's neat that they seem to be putting Martian Manhunter in like a relatively large role in this Superman movie. That's Superman and him. That's pretty cool. I think it's the White Martians are the bad guys in it, which is interesting as well. But yeah, I think it looks great. Really, really interested to see this sort of what is the new direction for the animated DC movies.
Yeah, if they're all done like in this sort of animation style, I'll be okay with that. I think.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay if they were like varying animation styles too, as long as they're. I just didn't like that sort of that house style that they adopted for their previous animated universe. It just felt unexpressive. This feels like it's got a lot of character and a lot of heart and a lot of warmth. And it's, it feels like there's a bit more artistry in it and a little less like just technique. You know what I mean? Like the other one was just like, can you technically animate this? And they were like, yes. And this one feels like, how will you animate this? And they're actually putting some thought into that. And I enjoy that.
And interesting voice cast too.
Yeah, I don't know that I actually looked it up.
So our Lex Luthor, Zachary Quinto.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, get some Skylar.
I saw Zachary Quinto on Broadway. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. That's a good Luthor.
Yeah.
I like that.
Darren Criss is the Superman.
Oh, right. He's he was on Glee and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You think he played Music Meister on The Flash?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ryan Hurst is Lobo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Lobo's in this. Yeah. Name's Lobo.
Neil Flynn is Jonathan Kent. Ike Amadi is Martian Manhunter. like some new sort of
Yeah.
voices in here, which is always great.
You know, some voice actors, heaven forbid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this. Yeah, and a sort of younger cast too, which is nice to see.
Yeah, very cool.
Like even Perry White is by a pretty young person, so
Yeah, I am very much looking forward to it. I think it looks great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Warren Ellis death metal story pulled due to allegations.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, listen. People are coming forward in all sorts of industries, but recently it's been happening a lot in comics, and it's good that it is happening. Cameron Stewart, Warren Ellis, a number of people have now been called out, and a lot of allegations out there from a lot of women about this sort of like predatory behavior, both towards fans and also as like gatekeepy, like professional kind of shadiness in the sort of Weinstein vibe of things, which is like, I've got the connections, I know the people,
Yes,
like that, all that sort of horrible stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's the right move to pull Warren Ellis's stuff from that is contemporary, that is happening.
God, he even looks like a creep.
Well, yeah. But, you know, I mean, like that one seems like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There have been a lot of very sort of like hollow gestures from some people in the comic book industry. It's like, it's like this stupid thing that was on Twitter. It's like, I pledge not to abuse people's trust. It's like, oh, great. Thank you for posting that, like, JPEG.
Yeah.
But like, one of the easiest tangible things you could do is just deplatform.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pull Warren Ellis's story. It's fine.
Jesus.
Like,
yeah, exactly. No, it's good. It's good. I mean, it's good that it's getting press because I think it's important to give light to those things. Right?
Again, it's every industry.
Yeah,
but comics has a long history of the known secret thing.
Yeah,
in the way that, like, the Weinstein one was, right? Like Eddie Berganza, like, for decades, and DC, you know, stuck by him, and Bob Harris or whoever at DC, like, stuck by him.
Yeah,
that's bullshit. Same thing with Cameron Stewart. Same thing with Warren Ellis. All of these open sort of secrets are now actually coming to light more publicly. And I think a lot of companies, Marvel included, DC included, Image included, everyone has a reckoning with their role in not only like fostering an environment where these things could happen, but actively keeping some of those people employed.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and some other people have put this far more eloquently than I will, but I'm paraphrasing. People have talked about, like, think of the generations of female creators and editors that gave up or got out because of this bullshit.
Like, imagine the art we could have had.
That's exactly it. Like, generations of potentially great contributions and stories and art and dialogue and all this kind of stuff ruined by ruined by a system of people that protected each other and, like, acted in a predatory manner. So it's good that it's coming out. It's horrible that it's taken this much. But yeah, of course, it's the right move to pull the Warren Ellis story. I mean, I'm not going to, like, applaud DC for it because they're also the ones that, like, kept Eddie Berganza on staff forever. But, like, it's literally the least they could do.
All right, moving on. Alan Scott is outed again in 80th anniversary issue.
Yeah, so Alan Scott, Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, like the Golden Age Green Lantern.
Yep.
Pre-Flashpoint, he was straight. And his son, Todd Rice, Obsidian, was gay. And they had these stories where, you know, like, Alan Scott doesn't understand. He's being a bad dad about it. All this kind of shit.
Bad dad.
New 52 happens. The Justice Society no longer exists on the main Earth. But on Earth 2, we were introduced to a younger Alan Scott. And that version was gay. Canonically. And then we just lost touch with that Earth after a number of years. Now that Rebirth has happened, the Justice Society is back in the main continuity. They're reintroduced back into the history and the timeline of DC.
Yeah.
They're taking that one piece and bringing it over.
Yeah.
So now the main continuity, the actual Alan Scott Golden Age Green Lantern, is canonically gay. Now, there's been some people online that are saying, like, why would you just do that? Bring back Obsidian and his stories. And my, I think, only counter argument to that is, why not both? I don't think there's anything stopping them from also having his son Obsidian in there and having stuff about maybe him not dealing with Obsidian being gay well because of, but now it's about how he was treated. Yeah. And, you know, like, I don't even think it upsets the canon, quote unquote, like, at all, right? So I think it's great. More representation is always good. And, you know, yeah, I mean, Alan Scott had kids in that, but that's also like, that doesn't preclude this from like being valid or like, it's not out of left field. It's just, it's good. It's like, there's no complaint. Like, I'm so like, I have no more vocabulary for people to just say like, it's fine. It's good. Like, like,
you don't have to have any feelings about it. Just it's allowed to happen.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But it's but this happened in his story in the Green Lantern 80th anniversary special.
Yeah.
Really, really cool story. But yeah, I think that was I think an important thing to have carried over from the parallel Earth Alan Scott into the main Alan Scott. I think that was important. I think that was the right move.
But he's got kids. Yeah, because there's never been a gay man ever who hadn't had kids first.
Well, exactly. You know, among all of the other things, like. You know,
also, shut up.
You know, he also fucking flies, right? Yeah. It's fine.
That's hilarious. All right, moving on. DC and Warner Bros. Announce multi-year partnership with Spotify to produce original podcast slate.
Right.
So I'm waiting for our call.
Yeah. Just waiting.
Yeah, still waiting.
This was for like radio drama. Sort of stuff,
like your right? Like the Wolverine one they did for Stitcher, and
which I think is very cool. Again, like because different things, different mediums can accomplish different things, right? Like, God, that Wolverine one is so cool, especially the first season.
Yeah,
so cool, and you could do just different things with like audio drama than you can with animation, than you can with TV, than you can with live action movies or whatever. They're aiming for
even books,
even books, yeah. So they're all aiming for different things. So I'm always in support of trying more different things.
Yeah.
So I think that's super cool. Yeah. Is there a certain thing that you would want to come? Like, what is the audio drama? DC audio drama that you would want to hear?
I would love to get like a 50s like radio drama alien invades Martian Manhunter story.
Sure, yeah.
I think that would be really fun.
I'm thinking I would like a sort of Twilight Zone-y sort of narration, but like a Phantom Stranger series. I would dig on that, I think.
That would be really, really cool. Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love to like go back to like doing like old school like radio dramas. Like,
yeah.
I think that would be really fun.
Meanwhile.
Yeah. I think it would be good.
We owe some of, we talked about, like how Harley started in animation, moved over to comics. You know what big thing started in audio drama and moved to comics? Fucking Kryptonite.
Yeah.
Like each of these things brings something new to the table.
Yep.
And so, that idea of like, what could stop Superman? And they were just like, oh, there's a radioactive, like K-Rock, I think is what they called it. It sounded like a radio station, but.
That sounds like a radio station, yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, who knows what the next thing that could become iconic is and where it will come from. So I love when they try new things.
That's awesome. Fucking Spotify.
Or retry old things, technically.
Spotify's making big moves lately in the podcast field. It's kind of crazy. They just like bought Joe Rogan's podcast for like
which is like also like maybe not great timing.
Oh, I mean,
pick up a guy like Rogan now is like, really? really Spotify?
Well, it was right before anything had was said or anything, but
Well, but I mean, still, just like in the atmosphere of being hyper aware and trying to learn about like social justice, that to bring someone that actively platforms the alt right is like
he doesn't.
What are we?
He doesn't do that.
He definitely does.
I listen to his podcast.
He
He doesn't.
He definitely does.
He likes to stoke fires, and so he says stuff on both sides. But he also,
there's not both sides. There's not two sides to this.
but he does. He constantly is like doing like social justice and like liberal sided interviews.
He's not. Nothing about Joe Rogan is liberal.
But I listen to it, and you don't. Like
I don't, because he's not.
I'm telling you that there is a lot of value for the stuff that he does. He may be a bad guy now, and I'll probably stop listening. But I wouldn't say that he's pushing for the alt right. I listen to it and agree. So what are you saying about me?
I'm saying that you're probably working on something else and not really listening.
I don't think so.
No way.
All right. Edit point. Deathstroke Knights and Dungeons. The movie trailer is released.
Yeah. I actually haven't seen the trailer for this yet.
Well, let's watch it because it's pretty neat.
I remember reading something that there was like maybe a shorter version and a longer version, and I wasn't sure what was.
I have the longer version, so it's not by like a ton, but
oh no, I meant like of the full thing, but I didn't know what the context was for it.
Well, there is a shorter and a longer version for the trailer as well.
Oh, sweet. That's kind of interesting.
I wish they showed some of the rated R stuff in it, but
yeah. Well, I mean, listen, the other sort of rated R animated projects of DC's have been pretty neat, so I don't have a reason to think this one wouldn't be.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it looks cool.
I mean, you can't do Deathstroke without it being rated R. I think.
Yeah, exactly, right.
It's like it's. I mean, it's the same reason why Marvel did it with their version of him. Anyways, that's all our news.
Hey,
now to talk about this week's thing.
That's right. This episode comes out on Canada Day.
I mean, every day should be Canada Day, but yeah.
Full yourself.
I'm just patriotic.
Oh God. So I thought it was an appropriate time to talk about Canada in DC / regarding DC, because there's lots of Canadian creators. There are not lots of Canadian characters, but I just thought it would be a fun sort of opportunity to, like, a lot of our listeners are in the States. I think some of the questions that we got open talk not only about comics, but maybe you can learn a little bit about Canada.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be a kind of fun thing for this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got some questions. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
First, let's go to the Facebook.
Going to the face and the book. Going to the Facebook.
Remove the. It's cleaner.
That joke, I've heard it on like 8 different podcasts lately.
It's in the zeitgeist right now.
Why the Social Network is sort of back in our collective consciousness?
I don't know either. Did you listen to How Did This Get Played? They made
yeah. Well, yeah, because I heard it there.
Yeah,
and then
I think Doughboys may have made the joke.
And just a couple of weeks ago, haven't seen it on the Brain Freeze Network.
Oh, yeah.
Did the Social Network, and I think that was like then I was like
tuned into it,
and now I'm just hearing it everywhere. Maybe people have always been making this joke, but now I'm just really aware of it.
I mean, it's the My Wife of melodramas
of Aaron Sorkin movies. Yeah.
All right, let's go to the first question from Chicken Maddie.
Matthew Poulter.
That's right. Poulter, I barely know her.
No, sorry, this is I pushed her.
When I'm involved, it's always pulled her.
Oh no.
Matthew asks, why do you think DC doesn't really have any especially prolific Canadian characters, as opposed to Marvel, which has several?
This is a really good question.
Yeah. Except for that heritage moment that we used to get as a kid where Canada created Superman.
I mean, if you want anything if you want to learn something about like white Canadiana, is
Look,
that
go to YouTube and look up.
if there is like any tangent of a connection to something in Canada, we're taught like look a Canadian was there. Look,
The
look at
fucking the Apple box fucking basketball thing like that.
that. Well, I mean, basketball was legitimately created by a Canadian, but he was also living in the States,
Yeah.
working down there. It's, you know, like Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone,
Yeah.
and then like, you know. But it's just all of these things. Like you go to Brantford, it's like it's the telephone city. It was here. It's like all of these things. We're just so desperate to be included in history.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that Heritage Minute. It's either Joe Shuster or Jerry Siegel or Joe Shuster. One of them is like half Canadian in real life or something. Where like they briefly lived in Canada. They were born in Canada but lived in the States or something like that. Superman was really created like. I think it's in Cleveland or something. That's where the Superman Museum is and stuff like that. But like, yeah, there's like a tangential connection to Canada. So they made this Heritage Minute thing about like a Canadian was once on a train before he created
like,
Superman.
Drawed a symbol.
Yeah, that's right.
Very funny.
I honestly though, I don't know why it's so different. I don't think Marvel especially was like hiring a ton of Canadians or anything. But they just latched onto this one idea, and I think it exploded. And the idea was there is a secret facility, and we got to put it somewhere remote. What's more remote than Canada?
And northern BC.
But then that turned...
Or is it Alberta? Where is it?
Yeah, I think Alkali Lake, I think, is supposed to be in Alberta.
Oh, okay.
But then what that did is then they took that idea and they were like, but maybe there's more of them.
Yeah.
And maybe there's other things. And that idea grew, so now they've got Alpha Flight and you know, like, Wolverine and Sabretooth and all of these, like,
but we never got that anchor.
But, I don't think DC has, like, that thing where it was like, Superman crashed in Kansas, Atlantis is over here, and remember in the 70s how the Martians arrived in Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Like, DC never did, like, an anchor point thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's the best I've got for an explanation why.
I think that's the best that I could come up with, at least.
It is absolutely a funny observation, and totally true, but... Yeah,
but at the same point, like they don't have a lot of Mexican characters either, and it's like you could make the same argument.
DC has a fair number of like Latinx characters.
I mean, now, for sure.
But even now, there's not that many Canadian characters.
But I mean,
not that Canadian is the same as being Latinx or something.
The argument you can make is that there's like you're at least showing more representation with like a Latinx character. It's like white fucking Canadian. Like it's an American with a slightly different accent.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know when you see Canadians in DC, they've got like no name and they wear a little like maple leaf on them, and it's always like at the UN.
Yeah,
where it's like, oh, there's Canada. That's when you see them in DC. They are not like on the front lines.
Or if they have a reason for a lumberjack for some reason, that's...
It also just feels so obviously. How is there not a lumberjack Justice Leaguer?
I mean, that's very true.
This was like after we saw Kingsman.
Yeah.
Or the second
we're like,
Kingsman,
there's got to be a Canadian one.
Statesman, and we were like, the Canadian one, they should be woodsmen.
Yeah.
And they should all be like lumberjack themed.
Oh, it's so smart.
They run a maple syrup company, and that's how they raise the money for their espionage.
Canadian man of letters, that's what you need.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's Zed, not Z.
Yeah. Zed for zombie. Gotta go get them, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best answer we've got for that one.
Yeah, I think so. Next question comes from We've Only Just Undone, who asks, what makes Jeff Lemire such a great DC writer? He's one of my favorites as well. God, that is a man after my own heart.
Yeah. I mean...
Because he's from Southern Ontario.
It's I think Jeff Lemire is just a great writer.
Yeah.
But let's try and answer this the way the question is written. What do you think makes him a good fit for DC?
Because what makes Jeff Lemire a great writer is that he's really good with environment and atmosphere. And one of the things that I think DC does better than Marvel is environment and atmosphere.
Right.
When you look at like what Gotham City is, what Metropolis is, what sort of like Krypton is, like you look at these sort of like the environments is really what makes the character so interesting. I think often is that like what what makes Batman so great in a lot of the ways is what his environment turned him into. And I think the same thing with Superman. He's growing up in like this idealistic Kansas, and then he goes to this sort of like big sort of shiny city. And I think that one of the things that Lemire does really well is sort of like very detailed capturing sort of like not necessarily even like the cityscape or like the nature, but it's sort of the feeling that you get within places. And I think like that so much sort of helps you understand what the character is thinking and dealing with.
Right.
And I think that's something that Jeff is so great at capturing. It's one of the things that really leads me into him. And I think that's what makes Essex County so good, because you take sort of a concept which is just like a fucking like middle of nowhere like Canada story, but you know what these people are like because of the way that they can sort of capture that. So
yeah, and I mean Jeff Lemire has done a lot of work, a lot of varied work for DC, but I also think a place where he shines is the things that are a little like off kilter.
Yeah.
Doing like Inferior 5 or Frankenstein, Agent of Shade, or doing Animal Man, or like these things that are. I mean, he also has like runs on like Justice League titles and like and stuff like that
for
too.
sure.
But there's something about like the off kilter kind of characters and stories, and I think that fits with his work on things like Sweet Tooth and the stuff that he does for Black Hammer and all that kind of stuff. Like I do think he's got like it's not like how Scott Snyder leans into horror. He just leans into like quirk or weird or I'm trying to think of words that don't sound like patronizing of like what he's doing, but you know what I mean? It's just something like a little off kilter, a little topsy-turvy. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. He's great. Something about that guy, I just like it.
Well, just wait till we get to a later question. There are a weird number of connections to DC Comics and where you're from.
Yeah. All right, let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
Sorry. There was a last minute Facebook question.
Oh.
That I guess I'll read.
Oh my god. And I won't answer.
No, you've got to answer it because I'm reading questions. It's all on you.
Oh no.
It's from Joe Yablanovsky. He writes,
yeah, it feels like you wrote this in. Yeah, it comes from Russia. It's Joe Yablanovsky.
We have already gotten a question from Joe.
I know.
So don't cast aspersions.
This isn't an anagram or something. It's going to be Revan.
Yeah. It'll be the doctor is Russian.
Yeah.
Tom Marvolo Riddle.
Mr. E.
So, he writes, second week in a row. Love the podcast. Started listening about a month ago, almost caught up. Anyway, I have to say my favorite Canadian character is Sandman Wesley Dodds from Earth 2. It's a different take on the character. He's like the leader of the World Army. He's into Black Ops. Also, I personally loved Justice League United. Brought a mix of different characters we don't normally get to see. What is your take? So, cram two questions in there, sort of.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I mean, that's perfect, of course.
You want to go golfing?
Kind of.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, well, I won't do this here. I was going to say, do you want to go golfing for your birthday? Like,
oh, yeah. Let's do that now.
Right. So, first one. He's talking about Wesley Dodds from Earth 2. So, we talked about there are not a ton of Canadian characters, certainly not high-profile ones. As we go through this episode, we're going to talk about a couple of characters that later were retconned to be Canadian. One of them is Wesley Dodds, the Sandman. So, Sandman is another Golden Age character.
Yeah.
So, like the Alan Scott thing, you know, when we moved from the old timeline to the new 52, that whole era stopped existing on the main DCU, just moved to Earth 2.
Okay.
Alan Scott got retconned as gay. Wesley Dodds got retconned as Canadian. So the original Sandman, though, he wears this sort of like World War I style gas mask, 3-piece suit, cape, hat, and he has a gas gun that, depending on what he puts in there, can either knock people out and make them tell the truth. I think at one point he had a sort of version of a fear toxin sort of thing that he could shoot, but he was called the Sandman. And then he also sort of had the limited power of like precognition via dreams.
Oh.
That later was retconned as being because Dream of the Endless had been captured and the universe was trying to find someone to fill that void. And so Sandman got a bit of that power. But basically that's the idea of Sandman. The Earth 2, like New 52 version of him is, he still has the gas gun and the mask, but other than that, very, very different character. He's basically a soldier. He's a commander. He's more of a military presence.
Oh, wow.
And he also had like a teleporter device. So the thing he was bringing to the team, to the wonders of the world, was this teleporter. He could just appear anywhere. So he's a very, very different Sandman, but he's also not a main character in that series. Like, he's sort of on the side, but he's on the side. You can see the little maple leaf. So
that's enough for me.
Weird retcon. Justice League United. The reason that this has come up is because the first arc of that series, written by Jeff Lemire, was called Justice League Canada, and it's that they find an alien bunker in like Moosonee, Ontario, like in like remote northern Ontario,
of course,
and all these random heroes sort of chance upon it, and they become sort of remote Justice League. And it's Martian Manhunter, Green Arrow, Animal Man, Stargirl, Supergirl, and Equinox, a Kree superhero created for that series.
Hell yeah.
And Adam Strange. Very weird team.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Very strange, though. So that's why this is coming up in the Canada episode. It was sort of an odd collection of teams, but it's when you look at Jeff Lemire's work, it's like, oh, who did he work on? He wrote Green Arrow for a bit, and he's in there. He wrote Animal Man for a bit, and okay, he's in there. Mm-hmm. He's sort of like putting these pieces together. It was a fun series, but really, the being in Canada was just like he wanted to put something in Canada. That was the setup. Beyond introducing Equinox and having that bunker there, it's not about Canada.
No.
It wasn't like the Justice League was like, listen, we got a lot on our plate between Metropolis and Gotham, but like Canada's a mess. Can we send some heroes up there, please? It wasn't anything like that.
No.
So,
all right. Now let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
I'm sorry. Twitter.
What was that a boot?
Ooh, in a boot.
First question comes from our favorite spacey, sexy texter.
Oh, Cosmic DM.
Oh, Cosmic DM is not a terrorist.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Felt like slipping into it.
Yeah, the Mandarin's back.
I watched it recently again.
Iron Man 3?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Disney Plus is the gift that
I think
it's
better over time, too. Yeah.
I liked it. Cosmic DM asks, did you lean towards DC because the Marvel Universe paints Canada as an evil country?
I mean, no, that's not why I lean towards DC. It's the reason I stay.
Yeah.
No,
it's the reason I hate Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny. Not only has Marvel set up this like anchor point thing that exploded into a bunch of characters, but Canada is like explicitly the home of untold evils in Marvel. I think the closest you get to that in DC is that in Commandy's world after the Great Disaster, you know, that map that shows like here's the Tiger Kingdom, here's the Gorilla Kingdom. Most of Canada is like the land of like the Devil Lands or something like that. That's the closest you get to like an evil Canada in DC, I think. I mean, it's not. The comic book's opinion of Canada has very little to do with why I'm reading it. It's just, I started reading DC, and now I know that stuff, and now I don't know the Marvel, and there's too much for me to parse through. Like, literally, the reason we do this podcast is why I don't read Marvel, because I just don't know where to start. I don't know who anyone is. I don't know, like, their 60-year histories.
Is there a Dr. Marvel we can listen to?
Yeah.
Also, fuck them. They took our idea.
Yeah, where's my royalties? podcast royalties.
That's right. All of your dollars. All right, next question comes from Jahin Alam, who asks, more Inuit characters would be great in DC Comics.
Yeah, I mean, more
indigenous and First Nations.
More indigenous characters in general. I mean, DC has a couple, and some over time have been written more increasingly tastefully.
Yeah.
Some really like bad representation at first. You know, like the old comics, like the Super Chief and stuff like that. But then, you know, like Black Bison, you know, from like a Firestorm villain.
There's no M. Bison. But.
Yeah, there's no Bison Bucks.
Yeah.
It's, you know, increasingly tastefully done.
Do we have any Inuit characters?
In DC and full Inuit, there are, I think, some characters, but not superheroes.
Okay.
So Peter David's run on Aquaman in the 90s sort of retconned Aquaman's origins a bit. And after being raised by dolphins, he lives in this like remote Inuit community for a bit and has like they are his family. I think there's a character called Koryak and stuff like that there. I believe they're meant to be Inuit. So there are, but I mean like that origin was also not canon anymore. But like there was for a time we drop into that world, but it wasn't like they came with him. He became Aqualad, or like they didn't become like main characters holding down a title. They didn't even become like real parts of the supporting cast other than showing this origin. It wasn't like he had this like Inuit friend who was his Commissioner Gordon or something like that. In old Green Lantern Silver Age comics, he has a quote unquote sidekick called Thomas Kalmaku, who I think in those comics they referred to him as Pie Face.
Okay.
Which I think comes from Eskimo pie because he was an Eskimo. So there's a lot of bad layers to unpack there. So again, you know, like, I mean, and the further back you go, the less they cared about being at all respectful or anything. Now, modern era, you know, we just talked about, so there's this Kree superhero, Equinox, that we really haven't seen since Lemire's Justice League United. Her name is Miabin, and she is from like Northern Ontario. And her, when she says Keewatin, she becomes this sort of like protector, and her powers are tied to the seasons. So if it's winter, she has like ice, snow.
Oh, wow.
Powers. If it's summer, then she would have like summer powers.
Is there like is there anybody else who has seasonal powers?
I don't know. I think
because that's fucking cool.
It's a pretty cool concept.
God, if we had to like come up with like a random character say every single episode, that would be a great one to try to. Yeah, do.
I mean, God, what a fun little segment.
We'll have to remember that someday. Yeah,
maybe one day we'll do that. But yeah, so it's kind of like a cool setup for the character. And in that Justice League United thing, you learn that like her family is a lineage of these sort of like protectors, and that they always fight the Witago, which is a sort of a comicsy version and reinterpretation of like a Wendigo sort of character.
Wendigo,
or Wendigo if you're a Supernatural fan. So I mean, she's a really, really cool character. There are. I mean, there's obviously more room for indigenous characters of many varieties.
Yeah. What's awesome is there's so much like heritage and history and stuff with all these like awesome stories that you could be turning those into.
And DC is all the pantheons are there.
Yeah.
They all exist equally, right? Well, equally under God, which is its own thing. But let's just leave that aside for now. Generally, you know, you got your Greek gods over here. You got your Aztec gods over there. You got, Ramakrishna. Like, they're all there. Why couldn't you have, like Raven spirit and like all these like different pieces? And there's so many different nations of like indigenous people in North America. They all have their own interpretations or versions or completely separate like mythologies. There's so much to work with there. But the key is even Jeff Lemire, writing that. That's a great move. And Jeff Lemire did a lot of work with Canadian legend Gord Downey on that Secret Path project. It was about residential schools and sort of cultural genocide of First Nations people. So he's a little bit versed in that. But really what the key is where are the First Nations creators?
Yes.
Because if you want to tell those stories properly, or you want the right perspective on them, you got to get them in there too.
Yes.
Yeah. First Nations, Métis, Inuit, but yeah, I think there's lots of like rich stuff that's for great stories and fun superheroics, and maybe again more takes on powers and things that we're just not coming up with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of room for that. I totally agree.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Oh man. We got this weekend we bought a birdhouse from Canadian Tire. So, the people who don't understand.
Hey, this is a Canada episode. We're
that's right.
Crappy tire.
So it's been great because like at night we can like open the window so that when we wake up in the morning, you can like hear the hey-haw! That's how you know it's morning. Did you know it was going there?
I suspected. I was like, there's no way that he's just in the middle of this telling me about going to Canadian Tire. It's like, I don't know how he's getting there, but we're on the path to Braydon.
That's right. It's the sound of the donkey. That's how I know it's morning. Braydon asks, is it true Plastique wanted Quebec to separate from the rest of Canada?
Yeah, so Plastique
is a separatist?
Was a separatist because she originally showed up in like the 70s. Which
I mean, yeah.
Very, very quick Canadian history lesson. In the 70s, the Quebec separatist movement reached like a real like violent
Bloc de Québécois.
No, the Bloc Québécois is the federal like the.
Oh no, this was
that's like the Nationalist Quebec Party in Parliament,
yeah.
but this was the Front de Libération de Québec, is the FLQ.
Yeah.
And in the 70s, they kidnapped a British ambassador and a federal minister who they ended up killing. And they were doing like mailbox bombings and all this stuff. It was called the October Crisis because they were demanding Quebec independence.
Yeah.
It
had less to do with
the government at the time brought in like martial law, and
it had less to do with separatism. It had more to do with like giving rights to French people. Because they were basically they wanted to speak French and not speak English, they were giving less jobs.
Well, that's
a huge part of it. I mean,
that was their justification of it.
Yes,
but really, that's bullshit. Yeah. But yes, there a separatist movement in Quebec is like a part of the Canadian history.
Yeah.
Totally a thing, and certainly in the 70s when that was like a real hot button issue, and that's where Plastique came in. So this character, her name is Bette Sans Souci. She's from Quebec, and in her initial outing, she was just an explosives expert.
Yeah.
I know. This is a very sort of charged thing. Later, she actually gains the power to create explosives. She started as a Firestorm villain, then worked her way over to being a Captain Atom villain, and then Captain Atom romance. They actually get married off panel.
Wow.
Like, at the end of the series, they're like going to get married, and then in a later unrelated series, they mention that they got married. You never actually see it happen.
Wow. Would have been an explosive wedding.
Was in, I think, like the first season of The Flash. It's the episode where he learns to run on water, where she's about to explode, and he has to run her out into the bay.
Yeah,
that's Plastique. She's been
so she kept going like mad.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, so initially, part of her thing was wanting Quebec separation. Later, she starts abhorring just like terrorist violence, but it's still like her power is explosions. That she was on the Suicide Squad.
Separate Quebec.
Oh no. Yeah. So you didn't misread that. That was a thing that she wanted at one point.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
All right, next question. When dysentery gets sexy, it's organ night.
God damn it.
You like that one?
I mean, I'm impressed that you keep going for new ones. You're sweating so much.
The day that I figured out that Oregon sounds kind of like Oregon, and it just, I brought a whole new slew of jokes. Organ Night asks, If you could make a 5 peeps superhero team of Canadian natives in the DCU, who would they be? Now, are they saying, like, I'm assuming they mean,
We're
like,
saying like
people
from
from Canada.
Yeah,
not-
from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of like a language difference between the States and
Yes.
us. I don't think they mean like Native Americans.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
mean born in
Native
Canada.
Canadians.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things here with our sort of indigenous groups are, I think, a little bit more advanced than in some places like America.
I mean, yeah, it's a low bar,
but also,
yes, technically,
like, it's still a very hot topic
Yeah.
up here.
well, yeah. I mean, you know, it's a very like long road to things like reconciliation and
Yes.
stuff like that. I mean, it is not. It is not a feather in our cap that we're further along
No.
than the States.
No.
Because it's not. We're not that much further along.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so in order to do this, we need to sort of go through the list of like who are the Canadian characters.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the most prominent ones have actually been retconned to be Canadian. They were not
yes.
initially Canadian.
Yeah.
So, among the characters that are now considered to be, or at least they were the last time the canon bothered
Yes.
to say it, Canadian, Adam Strange,
Yeah.
Booster Gold. We just talked about Plastique, of course. Equinox, that we talked about.
Yeah.
A pretty main one. Wesley Dodds, Earth 2 Sandman. There's a character called Dr. Icon, who's a former Deathstroke ally. He basically created this suit that Deathstroke wore for a bit called the Icon suit that has sort of like the same sort of like kinetic energy kind of thing that like Black Panther's suit can do.
Yeah.
So he's one. There's a guy called Freight Train. His name is Eric Moran, and he has sort of like kinetic energy powers. Not quite like Juggernaut, but that sort of idea.
Yeah.
That's a Canadian character. There were a bunch of random characters that got powers in that like Bloodlines thing, and so some had like lightning powers, some had other powers. But really, we're basically talking about those characters. If you go on the DC Wiki, for example, a lot of characters that show up in there are like they show up in like 4 issues.
Yes.
Or it's like, hey, do you remember that issue of Wonder Woman where they went to the UN? This guy had a name.
Yeah. Or there was a guy who just happened to have been a lumberjack on Earth 1.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of that. But so really, like, it's not an exaggeration.
There's like 8.
The Canadian contingent in DC is small.
Yeah.
So really, I think we talked about the 5. We got
Yeah.
Adam Strange. We got Booster Gold. We've got Equinox. We've got Plastique. We got Freight Train. I think those are your biggest 5.
Yeah.
There was one that like had, again, a handful of appearances. He was called Centrix. And I think he was on the Global Guardians. He was like the Canadian guy on the Global Guardians. There's one called Flying Fox who had like a suit that could allow him to fly. And I think it may have had some sort of like herbal something. I don't know if they were powers or I can't remember exactly. The Flying Fox was in there.
Booster Gold doesn't even show up on the list. Like if you go to the like.
Well, it's Michael Carter. He's under M.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, if just to make sure that we could round this team out, we could go to the Amalgam universe where you get Creed Quinn, who's like a sort of amalgam of Sabretooth and Joker, but with Harley's name. So like, Dark Claw was Logan Wayne,
and also Creed.
And
I mean,
Creed Quinn, yeah, with the arms
wide open under the sunlight, I will take you there. I could still play a little bit of a Creed song.
Well, yeah. Do you know 4 chords?
Yeah. No. I mean, because the one guy was very, very talented.
Oh, yeah.
The lead guitar player.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was in a bad band, but he was good.
Yeah. It's like the guitar player from Limp Bizkit.
That's true. There are a lot of like talented musicians trapped in bad bands.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, really, there's not a lot of Canadian characters to choose from. So I think we've said them.
Yeah, that's kind of the 5, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly the 5 biggest, which when you're saying like, who are your biggest? Booster Gold is big.
Yeah.
And Adam Strange is big, but they like, that was also like, we retconned it.
Yes.
So now
but it was like built in.
Now we're talking like Equinox, like maybe a dozen appearances.
It was great.
Plastique, sort of lower tier villain.
Yeah.
And then like Freight Train. Again, handful of appearances. Like we're going down the list.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, let's go to our favorite religious representative.
Chris Chan.
That's right. Who asks, which member of the Justice League would represent each province and territory?
Right.
Wow.
So we have to
These are some funny questions.
We have to try and like distill what we think the essence of a province or territory is, and then think of a character that matches that.
But let's do sort of Justice League, right? So
yeah, I mean, but you know that Justice League roster has shifted over time. A lot of characters have been on the Justice League, so I think it's relatively open. Okay. I'm going to start right now. Alberta, Guy Gardner.
I mean, that's easy. Yeah, that's a
Loud, brash, thinks he knows best.
Probably loves country music.
Yeah, you know. Maybe kind of deep down cares, but like, my God, I can't believe he's invited to this party.
Okay.
Sorry,
wow.
Alberta.
I want to say Aquaman is British Columbia.
Oh, he's BC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you would think you would go.
I was going to say like Nova Scotia
or PEI or something like
yeah.
that, but he feels like he's like that
But that's
wavy hippie, like.
I see what you're saying, right? Yeah, with you're definitely thinking of Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
too.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Long
yeah.
hair, my man.
Yeah,
like,
he's my
just
seaside
kind of
hipster.
laid
Yeah.
back, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him being a BC. I could also see him being a Yukoner.
I mean, yeah, that's true as well.
Ontario, you got to get
Batman.
yeah, Ontario's just too uptight, vaguely fascist.
Yeah.
Like yeah, Batman.
Let's see here. Who would I feel like Martian Manhunter is Manitoba?
I was gonna say, who's the underappreciated one? Who's the one that people forget about? And it's like,
yeah, it's Martian Manhunter.
Martian Manhunter, Manitoba.
Yeah,
definitely.
easy one.
He's there, and he's got like a lot of cool stuff going on, but people are just driving right through him on the way to something else.
Yeah. Oh, you know who's Newfoundland? Green Lantern.
Like how?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's all about you gotta have a lot of willpower to like live there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Newfoundland is so like working class to me, like in a good way. Like, you know, it's all like those fisheries and like, you know, people have like built houses on like fucking craggy cliffs and like insane shit like that. Like, I don't know who I'm trying to think of, but like a character that kind of, I don't know. Maybe a little more down to earth someone.
Green Arrow?
Maybe.
Or Hawkman?
Maybe a Hawkman.
Yeah.
Someone like kind of hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I think
Quebec is Wonder Woman.
Okay.
It's about like being inside of a larger area but feeling like you're secluded. It's all about sort of the injustice. It's all about
I suppose. Except
speaking a language that no one else really understands, I think.
Quebec's just so much more racist than Wonder Woman.
Is Lex Luthor Quebec?
I don't know that Lex is even racist. Who's a racist character in these?
I mean, is there a race?
I mean, there are versions of Hawkman who is so standoffish, but he's never racist. But maybe I'm getting too hung up on that. I think Quebec needs to whoever is Quebec would be like someone who like on the surface you're like, oh, that's fun and different, and like what a fun time, and then when you get to know them, you're like, oh, like maybe you're not that great.
Yeah,
I could say that. I lived in Quebec for a bit. I get to say that.
Starman? I don't know. That's a tough one. All right,
That's a tough one. Speaking of it, like we need to think of another character completely forgotten and overlooked to be New Brunswick.
Oh, I mean,
literally, like talk about a
Animal Man.
Yeah, yeah, it's Animal Man. Yeah, I think Saskatchewan would be a Superman. Not necessarily in the virtue side, but it's like the Midwest kind of like the fields, the farms, that like down home kind of thing. Like I think he would he would feel more at home there because it's kind of like a Kansas-y sort of
Oh,
vibe.
Northwest Territories.
Okay.
Shazam.
Okay.
It's like it's. I mean, the star is the Yukon, but it's got all the same stuff. But it's just it's sort of got sort of the like the lesser sort of
sure.
but he's basically Superman. But
right. I guess Nunavut is like your Nightwing because they started like under the shadow of the Northwest Territories, and then they like eventually broke out on their own. Now they are in charge of their own destiny, rightfully so. They're kind of like they've got a fun new way of doing things. Fun fact: Nunavut, the Nunavut government runs on consensus. They either all agree or they don't.
Jeez.
It's not majority. It's consensus. It's a fun new way of doing things. Just Nightwing is his own person. He's not Batman.
Wow.
So I think Nightwing is the Nunavut.
Mr. Terrific is PEI.
Some of these are tough. I actually think Wonder Woman would be a PEI. It's
really?
a sort of like idyllic island.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like by itself that like it's got its own mythology with like
okay, yeah, that's true.
Like stuff
okay,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I sort of see Wonder Woman as PEI a little bit.
I can get on that. That that's good.
Nova Scotia is one we haven't talked about. So Nova Scotia is sort of like if you're in the States, it's like a Maine sort of one. It's coastal, lot of fishing, a lot of like harbors and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Maritime province.
Yeah. I Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's New Brunswick. No, yeah. I mean, yeah. Something like that. I think, Nova Scotia would be a good Swamp Thing in that, like, not only just the geography sort of thing, but also like. Cool.
Yeah.
Really neat thing. The people that know it's great, but not everyone knows it's great. And I think it's got that sort of thing going on. I mean, if you're going to put Swamp Thing anywhere in Canada, though, like where he would like be at home, it's fucking Manitoba.
I mean, yeah.
Swampland.
Yeah.
It's all swampland.
Have we done the Yukon yet?
No. Other than saying that your Aquaman would equally fit BC or Yukon.
Because you could do if you did Aquaman is the Yukon, you could do the Flash as BC.
Yeah, that's true.
Hustle and Bustle, like
yeah,
I feel like
I like that.
And it's also, I mean, Star City, so yeah, that helps.
I like that.
Yeah, is that it?
I think that was a fun way for us to cast aspersions on the rest of Canada.
Yeah, if we didn't already alienate ourselves from the rest of the country by living here.
Listen, if you live in these places, you know where you are.
Yeah. Fuck Toronto.
Oh, God. I can't believe we lived so long down that way.
I know. I'll never go back.
I can't.
I literally can't. Last time I went back to Ontario, I remember just like literally just being like in a cab and being like, there's so much traffic and people. I'm like, this is too much.
The 401 is like 20 lanes wide now.
Yeah.
It's outrageous.
Insane. It's the most in the world. Like it's it's crazy. I fucking hated it. Yeah.
I have to stop myself from just making this like a naming landmarks and both of us going, oh yeah.
Oh jeez.
I was gonna be like, man, the QE too.
Yeah, the QEW. Yeah. Oh jeez. The fucking toll booths. Trying to fucking get quicker to Toronto. And,
that's the 407.
Oh yeah.
Are there toll booths out like your way?
No,
like on the 402.
No, it's only. I mean, we got 401 basically all the way down.
Yeah.
But no, until you get to
402 is what, like Lake Erie?
I think so. Yeah. Until we get up there, it's just Toronto that has that.
Fair enough.
Fucking GTA. All right. This is our fucking like California like thing. Like
this is the Californians. Yeah. Get on the 101.
Well, Adam Upper will appreciate it. So let's leave where we're at on Twitter and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
Well, this has been a while. Next question comes from ABC.
Brooks.
It's easy as 1, 2, 3.
Brooks.
Easy as ABC.
Brooks.
1, 2, 3.
Brooks.
Baby, ABC now.
Brooks.
Brooks, 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 Brooks.
It has been a while.
I know. I almost forgot how to do it. Jeez.
Yeah, it's like getting into a warm bath.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's because I peed. ABC
I think
Brooks.
we're saying the same thing.
Yeah. ABC Brooks asks, not really a question. Well, I guess it's, never mind. Moving on. Not really a question, but can we get some love for Meredith and David Finch? Batman, Forever Evil, Wonder Woman, and tons of great indie and Marvel books have come from this husband and wife.
Yeah.
Husband and wife team. That's awesome.
Husband and wife team. And I'm pretty sure that Meredith Finch was like I don't know what you'd call them, the resident artist of the city of Windsor for a bit.
Like my city of Windsor?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
I'm not sure if they're from there or if they just live there now or what.
Interesting.
So yeah,
A lot of fucking like DC people from Windsor. Who would have thought?
I know, right? It's disproportionate, I would say.
Yeah.
Especially considering that there's like almost as many creators from Windsor as there are Canadian characters in DC.
It's true.
David Finch is an artist, and yeah, best known sort of DC works are on Wonder Woman, Forever Evil, Batman. He's a really great artist. I think you would recognize his style if you saw it. I think he did some work on like Savage Avengers and stuff like that over at Marvel. Meredith Finch, her writing credits are mostly not at DC. Some independent stuff, some stuff at Marvel. But she did write a run of Wonder Woman with David Finch as the artist, which is kind of neat. But yeah, I mean, she's a very talented writer. He's an extremely talented artist. Two Canadians. And like, again, this is the Canadian inferiority complex thing, which I was about to say, two Canadians writing Wonder Woman. Isn't that cool? It's like, why wouldn't they get to? But like,
God, how lucky are we?
it's there's such like it's so woven in to be like, I'm so glad that we're not at the kids' table.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm just happy to be involved.
yeah, it's so
I'm just
funny.
grateful for the invitation.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally how I feel in most situations in general.
We're just lucky they thought of us.
Yeah. All of you listening to us in the States, thank you.
It's an honor just to be nominated.
Yeah. Yeah. I said that when we were log listed for the Canadian Podcast Awards.
I think we were nominated as a favor too.
We might have been.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'll take it all. Yeah.
Meredith and David Finch, very, very cool. David Finch's art style is sort of interesting because it's almost like the opposite of someone like an Ivan Rice or Frank Quitely. Those two sort of, it's about opening faces up, being very expressive. David Finch's artwork tends to like close faces down. He's very good at doing like the stern superhero.
That's why he does so much Batman.
A lot of great fit for Batman. It was also a great fit for Forever Evil, where like all of the characters were villains.
Yeah.
Like we had like Our Earth's villains. We had the Crime Syndicate from Earth 3. It was a really good fit tonally.
He's got a pretty iconic Wolverine too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was interesting on Wonder Woman, though, because then you can get that sort of stern thing. But now that translates in that context into like the warrior ethos or the like, descendant from gods kind of thing. It didn't make Wonder Woman too brutal or anything, but it does sort of bring out. His art style brought out a different part of the
It brings out a lot of brutalism. I think it's that sort of realism, like leaning towards the extreme.
Yeah. There's a lot of like straight line mouths in David Finch art.
Yes.
It's the way I sometimes describe it to
people. Yeah. It's iconic for a lot of his black and white work as well.
Yes. So. Yeah. But yeah, very, very cool. Canadian creators. Really neat.
Awesome. All right. Let's leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
That's right. For the last question, from Jimmy Jams.
Jimmy Jams.
No, you're gonna like my Jimmy Jams.
Isn't that what the... Oh no, I'm thinking of the Jimmy Jabs. I was like,
Yeah, it's the Jimmy Jabs from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah. Jimmy James asks, who are your favorite Canadian comic book artists?
Ooh.
I mean,
you're gonna have Lemire in there,
obviously,
of course.
Yeah.
Interesting. Lately, I'm getting into Jamal Campbell, who you would know his work on like Naomi or on Far Sector. Really, really, really cool artwork. And Jamal's a co-creator of Sojourner Malane, like the most recent Green Lantern, and of Naomi McDuffie, that character. I like his artwork. It's got like a sort of softness to it.
Yeah.
It feels not like normal comic book art. It's there's something that sort of draws you in that way. So I really, really dig his stuff. Jason Fabok. I'm a huge fan of Jason Fabok.
Yeah.
I've said it on the podcast before. That feels like the epitome of what a house style should look like. So I wouldn't say he's doing something like really off the wall or anything like that, but it's just so good. There's so much detail, and the way that he manages to capture like the myth, I think, of these like DC characters is really something. Like that whole Darkseid War arc that he did is just insane artwork, start to finish. And we're talking about, we're going all the way from a character like Batman, no powers. We're going all the way through Anti-Monitor, Darkseid, Metron, Mr. Miracle, Wonder Woman, like just all of the different components. I'm really looking forward to seeing his work on Three Jokers when that finally eventually comes out.
That's going to be rad. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have anyone else you want to throw in there?
Not specifically like DC, but like
okay, that's fine.
Like Scott Pilgrim, like Brian Lee O'Malley.
Yeah.
I think is really good. Who's it from Saga? Fiona something.
Fiona Staples.
Yeah.
Is Fiona Staples Canadian?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Fiona Staples is definitely up there. Then.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Incredible artist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then who is it? From Spider-Man, like Peter Parker and the Spectacular Spider-Man. Chip
Zdarsky?
Yeah, Zdarsky, yeah.
This is the other thing too, is like sometimes like people say a name and be like, yeah, and then they'll be like, yeah, they're Canadian. I'll go, Ken Lashley, that's anher one. Another great Canadian artist.
How lucky are we?
I mean, it's just an honor to be included. We're just so thrilled to be here.
We'll just stay over here. We're not going to bother anybody.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm going to have some shrimp.
Yeah, well, we don't want to be uninvited.
Gosh. I mean, that'd be the worst thing we could do.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of the questions. Now on to our favorite game. Of course, it is. Can you guess the name of the character based on how someone who doesn't read comic books describes that character to us?
You're getting pretty good at saying that.
Yeah.
It's only been like 2 years, but you're getting pretty good at
finally figuring things out.
You're there.
Yeah. I'm going to be all right.
Don't you forget about me.
Don't. Oh, now I just think of Futurama.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
So, of course, if this is the first time you're listening to this, and based on the obviously a very quick little title for this, you don't really know what this game's about.
Right.
I've sent a character to a photo of a character to my wife, and she doesn't give a shit about comic books, and has a very weird mind. So she sends me some clues, and I will describe them to the doctor and see if he can guess who we're talking about.
Yeah. I'm like right down the middle on this.
That's true. Yeah.
I either get it or I just
no fucking clue.
Not even close.
No, it's not clue. It always makes me very happy.
Yeah.
All right. First clue. Very simple.
Okay.
Loves to dig.
Okay. Loves to dig. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to guess or no?
No.
Okay. You can guess as many times as you want.
Beast Boy?
No.
Okay.
You fucking idiot.
I'm so sorry. It was an honor to be nominated.
All right. Number 2. Is into forced labor and looks like a white supremacist from the 1950s.
Oh, no. I'm thinking white costume. Forced labor. So I'm imagining cuffs or chains or something. And a whitish costume. Okay, I want one more clue.
Okay. Number 3.
Okay.
Needs his space. I've got 2 more if you need them.
Hang on. I'm pretty sure there must be chains or cuffs or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not convinced about the color of the costume, but maybe it's about it being a hood or something like that. And he loves to dig?
Yeah.
That one's throwing me a little bit. Okay, another clue? It's not the Spectre, is it?
No.
Okay.
Was blinded by the light beam.
Needs his space a pun? Like he's spacefaring?
I don't know.
Ah, fuck. Needs his space. Looks like a white supremacist.
Into forced labor.
Into forced labor.
Loves to dig.
Loves to dig. It's not Lobo, is it?
No.
Okay.
It's Nobo.
Nobo. I'm really gonna like kick myself for this.
Yeah,
it's like,
100%.
It's something like too obvious for me. Yeah. Okay.
Do you want the final clue?
I want the final clue.
Number 5 is a little strange.
It's not really Adam Strange.
Yeah.
Why does it look like he likes to dig? I mean, he's an archeologist.
That's
I guess.
why.
Fuck. And it's white and red costume. And he needs his space. He's spacefaring. Son of a bitch.
Oh, I get that.
I just get so in my head.
I know. Oh, it makes me so happy.
I'm so fucking insecure.
That's why she always fucking lets you put it in at the end. He's a little strange.
Yeah. God damn it. I am mad about that. I'm angry about that. I should've-
You're
everyone-
better than that.
Everyone listening to this in the car is like screaming at me.
I hope so. Let us know if you're screaming the name by the end of that.
Yeah. Tell me if you're screaming my name.
Yeah. No. The name. Screaming a little strange.
Yeah.
Adam
Strange.
Adam
Strange.
Regardless, we would love to hear from you residents. Or you could send us a question for next week's episode.
Actually, not next week's.
Oh, that's right, because we have an
Next
episode
week's-
already
next
in the
week's is
can.
recorded.
Okay, for the one
But
after that.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So you'll also hear this next week. We're doing like medieval era. So anything like Middle Ages, like Arthurian times, any characters or stories or that take place in like medieval times, we are doing that 2 weeks from now. So you
Yes.
can send questions for that.
Can't wait to have that big leg of lamb.
Mutton.
Oh, yeah. Or just like a giant turkey leg. I'd be okay with it. Did you know what those giant turkey legs are not turkey?
Oh, are they at least a regular meat?
They're a bird.
Ostrich?
Yeah.
Is it actually?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time, at least. It's
Have you ever had
ostrich.
an emu egg? This is a little off topic, but have you ever
No.
had, there's an emu farm like
There's a lot in Ontario.
there's
Yeah.
a ton. There was one really close to where I grew up, and I remember one Easter or something. My dad bought a couple of emu eggs. We brought them to like the family Easter, and they had to like saw them open
Yeah.
and like stuff, and they were green and
Weird.
like not the egg wasn't, but
The shell?
The shell was, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, was it good?
I mean, it just tasted like egg. It was,
Oh, really?
I was
There's-
also a kid. Like maybe now, if I had it, I'd be able to discern like a different flavor profile or something. But at the time, I was like, yeah, whatever. It's a big egg.
You didn't even. You weren't like, oh, this is weird.
No, actually, I wasn't. Yeah,
Oh, you know what? It's not ostrich. It's usually emu. That's what it
Emu,
is.
sure.
Yeah, that was.
I think
yeah.
they're a little smaller than ostriches.
Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah. But were you a picky eater as a kid?
No,
Really? You just were.
no, just put an emu on my
Yeah.
plate. Go to
That
town.
makes sense.
Hey,
All right.
fuck you.
You don't look like this from being picky.
I mean, you're allowed to pick all of them.
Yeah. I'm picky, as in I love to pick food. Pick a little bit of this, pick a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'm also pickling all of my food.
Yeah, that's why when I say I have picky legs, it's because I've doused them in pickle juice.
Oh god.
We would love to hear those questions, or just to hear from you in general, residents. Also, let us know if you obviously knew that was Adam Strange by like the second question. Reach out to us through our various social. I think that's a stroke. Reach out to us through our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
Twitter,
at Dr. DC,
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast,
email,
DrDCPodcast@gmail.com.
or jump on that subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
Of course, the doc phone is always open.
208-917-3238.
That's 208-917-DCEU if you're nasty. Of course, go to our website.
DrDCPodcast.com or .ca.
Give us 5 stars.
Yeah, give us those reviews. We are on the way to 100 reviews. And at 100, we will make a Lord of the Rings miniseries.
Yeah, sure.
And at 200, probably
100.
we will start our Supernatural rewatch podcast.
Holy shit.
That's right.
Do we want to make the announcement this one? I mean, we technically did it in the last one, but that one's coming after this one. Do we want to do it in this one?
Oh, yeah, let's just do it.
Yeah?
Let's just go.
I already have it ready, so...
Let's go for it.
Yeah.
So, if you're listening to this and you are not on our Patreon, or you are on our Patreon, basically, here's how Patreon works. We've got a $5 level. You
Yeah.
get a bonus episode every week. It's the Double Dose. Comes out on Fridays.
Yeah, baby.
Full bonus episode.
So much content.
$7 level. You get that, and then you also
That's
get
2 more than 5.
you get a video episode.
Oh,
called
that's moving pictures.
called the Prescribed Reading. You also get to vote on episode themes.
But
and
you're
stuff
right.
like that. That's right. Jesus, your hyping is so aggressive. That's all on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/DrDC.
All right, ciao.
Adios.